Welcome to Will It Build, the series where I take your builds from my YouTube comments and Discord server and put them to the test to see if they are the real deal. If it's solid, then I'll gift you 1,000 silver, and if it's really something special, you'll be featured in a dedicated build video for your submitted build. So comment yours below so we can answer the question, will it build? Welcome to another episode of Will It Build. Today we're rocking and rolling with a Stasis Warlock build submitted by Vovo titled the Icy Empress. They say prepare to dominate the battlefield in any form of content with endless armies of turrets, crowd control, and damage. The ability regeneration of this build is so good, you'll be throwing grenades when in need of ability energy. They like forget to finish their sentence or something like that. Today, we're gonna mix things up a little bit by testing this not in the coil, but since they say it can dominate the battlefield in any form of content, we're gonna go ahead and test it out in what I would consider to be one of the absolute hardest pieces of content in the entire game, the Grandmaster Nightfall variant of the Corrupted Strike. We're also going to do it at the same time that we're going to do a Grandmaster Nightfall carry. Those who watch my streams, twitch.tv/Mactics, where we film these live, know that I do Grandmaster Nightfall carries in here all of the time. So I've got Ghost and Aractos in here who both need the clear for Grandmaster Corrupted. So we're going to see if this build can not only stand up in Grandmaster Corrupted, but can it rock and roll and steal the show and take care of business even when we have two other people who are still needing to complete the strike. So let's get the build set up. Listen, my eyes ain't that good. I can't really tell what the fragments are just by looking at the icons. I need the names. Please type them out for me next time. I'll let you guys know what the names are. In fact, I'll have my editor. Can we display the names on screen, please, of the aspects and fragments as we get through the build? Obviously, with Stasis, only one super. I can tell that that is Healing Rift. So we'll go ahead and make sure that we have Healing Rift equipped. Obviously, only one melee for this. And then we have the Cold Snap Grenade, which I already have equipped. As far as aspects, it looks like I have one of them on already. We have Glacial Harvest, where freezing targets creates stasis shards around the frozen target. Higher tier combatants create more shards. And it looks like we have Bleak Watcher, which is the turret aspect, where you can hold your grenade to be able to convert it into a stasis turret that you can throw out that will occupy the battlefield for a decent period of time. As far as our fragments go, the first one looks like a little, it's a little ball with like a hole in the middle. I think it's this one, the Whisper of Chains. While you are near frozen targets or a friendly stasis crystal, you take reduced damage from targets. Now, I always like to see exactly, what kind of effects these things are giving. So if we come to the Destiny Data Compendium and we look at the Whisper of Chains, being within 10 meters of a frozen enemy or a friendly crystal grants 40% damage resistance. That's actually how much damage resistance you got from pre-nerf tier 10 resilience. So with this build, you effectively get that back, turns you into a little bit of a tank, especially when you couple it with a high resilience stat as well. In terms of other fragments, looks like we have another ball with like a line horizontally down the middle. Trying to figure these out as best I can. Whisper of Torment. You gain grenade energy each time you take damage from targets. This one I do question a little bit. And I think we'll have a decree at the end of the video as to whether or not I like taking this here. I feel like this one is kind of butting heads with what the build is supposed to do, because what the build is advertised to do is crowd control everything and freeze everything and make it so that nothing can shoot at you, yet we're taking a fragment that gives us benefits when we get shot at. So we'll see how it works out in practice. I also kind of want to take a peek at statistically. Receiving damage from an enemy grants 5% grenade energy, incurs a 1-second cooldown between energy gains. So I think it could be decent. We'll see. I mean, this is something that I think just needs to be seen in practice. So we're gonna rock and roll. If I feel like it wasn't that useful, I'll let you know what you guys should use as an alternative. And our third fragment slot looks like the Whisper of Durance. Slow that you apply to targets lasts longer. For those abilities that linger, their duration will also increase. Fun fact about this that I learned way back when I did the Stasis Warlock playbook along with Imagine, another great build crafter, that this fragment also increases the duration that your stasis turret exists on the field. I can't remember the exact numbers. I wonder if it'll tell us. It looks like you get an extra 5 seconds to all slow sources. So I think turrets have a base of like 20 to 25 seconds on the field. I think it takes them up to 25 or 30 respectively, but it makes your turrets last longer, which is fantastic. Also makes the slow last longer. Finally, in our fragments, looks like we have another, it's like a backwards E I hope I'm describing these well. Nearby stasis shards track to your position. Love this one because of the stat bonuses we get. We get plus 10 resilience and intellect, which is awesome. But I like that because it synergizes with glacial harvest really well. Freezing targets create stasis shards. They'll automatically track to us with conduction. That feels really, really good setup. In terms of weapons, they're recommending that we rock and roll with a deliverance with demolitionist and chill clip. However, that is a raid weapon, and I understand a lot of people might not have that. So what they do offer as an alternative is that Riptide with demolitionist is a decent alternative if you don't have deliverance. I'm assuming that the angle that they're trying to go into is kind of a stasis fusion rifle that has demolitionist because it's going to allow you to get your grenades back more frequently. That this weapon is not going to be super necessary for the build. I'll try to come up with a couple alternatives for you guys who might not raid and might not have this weapon. As they said already, they've got Riptide. As far as the other weapons, they say any energy or power weapons that you want. So I'm just rocking and rolling with Polaris Lance because it's pretty good this season with all the seasonal artifact mods, and Apex Predator because, you know, I love recon bait and switch Apex, you know, can't go wrong with it. For the exotic armor, they're hooking us up with the Osmiomancy gloves, which are absolutely peak for stasis warlock. Your cold snap grenades have an additional charge, so you get 2 of them, and they recharge quicker on direct impact. The seeker spawn from cold snap grenades also travels further. So this basically makes it so that cold snaps, you get 2 of them, and they refund themselves if you use them just strictly as a cold snap grenade. I'm going to show you guys some really cool stuff that you can do with this, because the amount that cold snaps refund to you is actually based on the tier of the enemy. You'll see here that you get 10% of the grenade back if you hit a tier 1, a red bar enemy with a grenade, but you get all the way up to a 50% grenade refund if you hit mini bosses, champions, bosses, and things of that nature, which can make them extremely potent. Let's go ahead and finish getting the build together. We want to make sure that we have our mods all set up. It looks like they are sticking us with a stasis siphon, a heavy ammo scout, and a heavy ammo finder. As far as the gloves go, we have triple grenade kickstart, so we're actually not really going to be able to have any mod right there because we're investing all of our energy right here. That's actually going to make me come back here, slot a discipline grenade back in so that we get our discipline stat. As far as our chest, looks like just some standard resistance mods, whatever you kind of want to rock and roll with. I think I'll go with some arc resistances and maybe a void since we are doing the Grandmaster. I think I'll go 1 solar for the Nightfire since it is Grandmaster Corrupted. On the boots, it looks like we've got Innervation, Recuperation, and Elemental Charge. Absolutely love Elemental Charge here because of how many stasis shards we're going to be generating. That's going to be a great way to acquire armor charge stacks. And then on the class item, we have got Reaper, Powerful Attraction, and Bomber, which makes perfect sense to me how, you know, how focused this build is on making orbs so we get armor charge stacks for our grenade kickstarts. So this looks like the full mod setup as far as I can tell. Again, I think that Solar Siphon would make more sense here, but I'm going to use what they recommended. So the first thing I want to show you guys, like I was talking about, I've got some cool little tips with the cold snap grenades. So as you can see here, if I throw a cold snap grenade at the champion, it'll give me 50% of it back. But what's really cool is that the direct impact of the cold snap grenade also counts as a hit. So you can actually throw cold snap grenades at champion tier enemies completely for free because the direct impact of the cold snap grenade will give you a 50% refund. And then when it hits the ground and creates the seeker that will track to the enemy and freeze it, that'll give you the other 50%. That also works on any boss enemy, any mini boss enemy. It works on all champions, everything of that nature, which is really, really cool. So same thing. This guy's a boss enemy over here. So if you look at my grenades, as long as I hit him with it directly, you can kind of see that it's just continuously giving me the full grenade back, which is really cool. Well, I mean, it helps if you actually land the grenade, but it ends up being really cool because you can continuously get shatter damage on the bosses, which is really, really neat. I kind of learned this back in the day from Imagine when I made the original Stasis Warlock playbook. Killer tip to keep in the back of your head if you want to infinitely freeze champions for free. So now I kind of want to kill these enemies here, so I'm going to throw out a stasis turret. Getting a little weak, so we'll get the healing rift down. So we got to... Okay, well, never mind. Let's get a stasis turret out to get some crowd control on the battlefield. That should make it much easier for me to get this revive. Excellent. Got overload rockets. They all just disappeared. Okay, so now we'll get a stasis turret out on the field to start freezing enemies. Perfect. And I want to kind of try and take these sniper enemies out. I actually have Radiant thanks to the seasonal mods. so I don't really have to worry too much about those Vandal barriers, because if you have Radiant, that gives you anti-barrier. And anti-barrier can shoot through those little barriers, by the way, fun fact. But now I just stunned the Hobgoblin. I didn't even mean to. But my turret was out on the field and it was just poking at them, apparently. Just gonna keep chucking the turrets out, keep freezing everything. They're kind of doing all the work for me. Everything's frozen, everything's stunned. Because the turrets are actually awesome. The turrets can stun both Overload champions and Unstoppable champions, because Overload champions get stunned from slow. I always love a build that can tackle all 3 types of champions, because it makes it so that your loadout can be much more, you know, up to you. You have a lot more freedom with your weapon loadout, because you're not forced to use things that coincide with the seasonal champion artifact mods. So a big W there. And then let's get some stasis turrets deployed. I'm gonna cast my class ability too to proc bombers, so I get a little bit of grenade energy back, so I can get a second turret out there. Look at those turrets doing absolute work. Oh, there we go. And there's our Demolitionist kill. Now we can get another Cold Snap Grenade on the field in preparation for these Scions. And then I think this will be a great time to cast my Stasis Super. So we can freeze all of these mini-boss tier enemies and do a ton of damage to the... Oh my god. Well, I would say that this is probably one of the hardest sections of the entire strike, and we just cooked it with half of a super, so... Okay, so we'll continue plinking away at enemies from a distance. I see, I'm in a predicament here. I want to allow the enemies to hit me, because then that procs one of my fragments to give me grenade energy whenever I get hit by an enemy, but at the same time, I don't really want to let them hit me in a Grandmaster Nightfall, because then they're going to absolutely cook me, so that's kind of the, you know, it's the issue there, you know. So I don't like to, I don't want my playstyle to, you know, be something where it's like I'm trying to get hit, because, you know, that's how you end up dying. I'm thinking, too, we should also make more use of our Penumbral Blast, because we're going to have it up so frequently, since every time we pick up Stasis Shards, it gives us melee energy. So now we have a Cold Snap and a half, so I think I'm going to want to use this one on the Unstoppable Champion. I don't want to use it as a turret. I'm going to want to use this one as just the regular Cold Snap. That way I can get the energy refund from it, thanks to the Osmiomancy Gloves, since you don't necessarily get that refund when you throw it out as a turret. So we got him stunned. I can throw the grenade. Direct impact gives me 50%. And then the actual Ice Seeker will give me the other 50%. I can continue to do that infinitely, just on a loop like that, over and over and over again. We'll never run out of grenades. As long as I actually hit him, of course. But I'm doing a decent job of that so far. And so yeah, already that we're rocking and rolling with this build, I just feel like, yeah, absolutely a Solar Siphon or a Siphon to match whatever your primary ammo weapon is would have just made a whole lot more sense. Double kills with the Deliverance. In fact, I kind of like the Deliverance more as just a way to, you know, be able to have an extra way to freeze the tankier targets. So I'm not loving, you know, I like having the weapon Deliverance. I like being able to have the Choke Clip, and I like the Demolitionist to get more grenades. I like that aspect of it. I just don't like investing into the idea that we're going to be doing a lot of ad clearing with it. Most of our ad clearing is with our primary weapon. I think it makes a lot more sense to have your Siphon match your primary weapon. So take care of that champion. Over here, I think right away, I want to throw a turret right on top of wherever the Unstoppable Ogre spawns. So there he is right there in the back. I want to get a turret on him so he's just constantly frozen. And then I can start throwing regular Cold Snaps, because they're going to get refunded in full from hitting him directly and then bouncing on the ground and scattering around to hit a bunch of enemies. But what's even better than that in this situation is that when it comes to the Cold Snap Grenade, you get a refund you potentially have a chance to get 4 different instances of refunding from every grenade that you throw. You can get a refund from the direct hit of the grenade, and then the Seeker will go ahead and run around and freeze 3 different enemies. So you can get a refund from the direct hit plus the 3 enemies that get frozen by the Seeker, which means you can get a pretty ridiculous amount of grenade energy from just 1 grenade throw. So like, for example, right here, if I try and throw it right there, look at the grenade icon. Boom. Boom. I basically got 2 full grenades just throwing 1. Because I would the way I threw it probably direct impacted one of the boss enemies, the champion or the boss ogre, fell on the ground, Seeker hit the champion, Seeker probably hit another trash mob, and then the Seeker probably hit the boss ogre. I believe that you only get the refund instance if you hit an enemy that is not already frozen. The stasis turret being on the field plus the cold snap Seeker running around trying to freeze things, they might be kind of fighting with each other. So if I do no stasis turret and just throw the grenade, boom, there's half. Oh my god. Yep. So I bet I can probably... What if I just start chucking cold snap grenades in the middle of a bunch of, you know, enemies? Yeah, I can basically spam cold snap grenades. Oh my god, and look, I already have both. That's so funny. Penumbral blast. Another one. Yeah, that's hilarious. So yeah, you have the turret option for if you want to have kind of like a minion that freezes everything, or depending on the tiers of enemies that you're fighting and whatever section you're currently in, could do the spam throw method. Whoa! Big tip for the Grandmaster Corrupted. Don't have the audacity to be where the unstoppable ogre is. Not that you can know where it is, you know, because you're in a completely different realm. How are you supposed to know where it is? But, you know, just, So we're gonna get in our cold snap grenade here. Let's keep cold snapping. I'm gonna make use of the deliverance as well. Got some special ammo. Get a little extra damage. Getting our cold snap out there. I wonder how the damage is, of our Winter's Wrath. No. The damage is so good that upon casting it, the boss just fell over. He was that scared of me. Obviously. Definitely wasn't a Celestial Nighthawk from my teammate. Nope. Absolutely not. Okay, so we're going to keep on plinking away. Here, I kind of do want to get a stasis turret out to just constantly freeze this guy. Because I don't want to focus on throwing cold snap grenades at him. I just want to focus on beaming him with my guns. Although we are taking a lot of heat from the Shrieker, so I think I'm going to back it up a little bit. Maybe I will just stick to that. It's tough. I'm trying to judge when the best situation is to use a turret versus just throwing the cold snap grenade regularly. I feel like if you're just dealing with a champion or 2 champions or something like that, or if there's a champion even in the mix somewhere, I think it's almost always better to just use the cold snap grenade because you're going to get it back in full as long as you actually land a direct impact on them. Compared to if you throw a turret, you're not going to get that turret back because when you use the grenade as a turret, it's not going to give you the refund from Osmiomancy gloves. So I feel like it's probably better if I'm like dealing with a champion, probably just better to spam the cold snap grenades. And then I can use the turrets for more minor enemy ad dense situations, like tons of red bars and tons of orange bars and things of that nature. Even, yeah, I don't know. We'll keep on rolling. I mean, so far so good though. I mean, clearly we're not really struggling to get through this Grandmaster Nightfall. So I kind of want to skip past these Shriekers to get into the portal. So, oh, I have invisibility from my teammate, but even if I didn't, I could just go, hey. Okay, let's get a turret on the field. And then we can start lobbing in some extra grenades. Get our grenades completely back when we chuck them at this guy because he is a champion. 50% for the direct impact and then 50% for the Seeker bolt. And what's really cool is if you only have 1 grenade in your inventory, you can actually get more than 100% grenade refund, like I said earlier, if you have extra enemies around that the second and third instance of the Seeker bolt end up hitting. Because you have 4 potential instances of refund for every grenade that you throw. pretty powerful. Do I only get the refund from throwing cold snaps if it hits a non-frozen target? So let's, if I throw it at that guy, and then I immediately throw another one, he's already frozen. Okay, so it's kind of, I see what happened just there. So it's a little more convoluted than that. So Osmiomancy will give you the refund instance if you hit the target. It has nothing to do with whether or not they're frozen. The problem is if you continuously chuck cold snap grenades at a target that is already frozen, the Ice Seeker bolt, the little seeker that travels on the ground, it will not seek to a frozen enemy. So if you try to throw multiple cold snaps at the same frozen enemy, yes, the direct impact will give you the refund, but you will not get the second refund from the Seeker because the Seeker won't try to go get the enemy because it's already frozen. In the Seeker's brain, well, I mean, it's a line of code. It's a made-up digital grenade. But if I had to imagine what was going on in the Seeker grenade's brain, it probably is saying to itself, hey, this guy's already frozen. You think the cold snap Seeker is thinking about what it's going to have for breakfast the next morning? Now, I know this is a Will It Build video, but we are doing this in the Grandmaster Corrupted. I know the Grandmaster Corrupted is a strike that a lot of people have trouble with. Like I said, I do Grandmaster Corrupted carries on my live stream, twitch.tv/Mactics, but I still like to show you guys little tricks and stuff in these YouTube videos that we do. For this section where you're jumping down, I know sometimes people struggle with this and they die here. You only need one person on your fire team that's good at it, because once they get to the bottom, it pulls everyone else. If you're the person who has to do that for your fire team, it's really easy to make it down, actually. If you approach it just straight on, you kind of aim for right there. So you kind of want to fall in between these two rocks, kind of hugging this wall, if that makes sense. And then from there, it's basically a straight drop down. I'm sure there's other ways to do it, but that's the way I've always done it. And I've literally never had a single issue. I wonder how, there's a bunch of Thrall down here. I wonder how much cold snap energy I'll get back if I just chuck it down there at all the Thrall. Oh, I still get a pretty decent amount. Maybe chuck it down there at those two Minotaurs. Ah! Yeah, honest, so far using this build in this run, without a doubt, in my opinion, the Chill Clip Fusion Rifle, the Deliverance, or even the Riptide is absolutely not necessary. If, you know, you guys want to use a different special weapon with this, I think you're completely okay too. It's definitely not super impactful, this build. This build is great ability regeneration, and it's mostly coming from the Osmiomancy gloves and other armor mods that you got going on in this build. So I know kind of at the beginning we talked about if we would need alternatives for Deliverance or Riptide for people that didn't have them. For sure not necessary. That much I am confident about. We have a big cluster of enemies over there. I want to see how well I not only get cold snap grenade refund from just chucking cold snaps at them, but I want to see how well it kills them from the shatter damage. So if I just chuck cold snap grenades over there and shoot like one enemy. That is funny. Stasis Shatter is so powerful. I think it's one of the most underrated things in the game. It's absolutely sweet. Every single thing just exploded. Whoa! Got in a boxing match with that guy. Would Wicked Implement cook in this build? It probably, honestly, Wicked Implement would probably be fantastic here. Okay, let's lob another cold snap grenade. Get everything frozen. Let's lob even another one. Yep, everything's dead. Bye-bye. And I have both of my cold snap grenades back. What if I started just throwing them over there before these enemies even jump over? Yep, that works pretty well too. Let's just keep lobbing cold snaps. Here, have another cold snap. Here, you guys want another cold snap? Another cold snap. Let's get a turret over there, actually. Because the turret will be able to reach some of the enemies that I can't really see and keep them frozen, so these scions will stop duplicating. The nice thing about the turret, too, is it kind of tells me where enemies are, because wherever the turret is shooting, I know there's an enemy there, even if I can't see it. Oh, okay. And here's definitely a spot where I want a turret, because I want something that will apply slow, because there's a taken overload hobgoblin up there. And so I want slow, so it'll do the overload stun, as opposed to just the cold snap freeze. So there we go. My turret's stunning that taken overload hobgoblins. Gonna keep doing the slowing bolts, which will continuously apply overload, so I don't have to worry about the taken hobgoblin shooting the retaliation orbs, which do so much damage. And he is dead just like that. And look, I have Radiant, like I said before. See how I can shoot through these barrier Vandal shields now? Hop on over, cold snap grenade at the taken phalanx, and we can continuously do that, freeze him every time, because we get it all back. Throw another one. Another one. Oh, that was the best melee I've ever thrown in my life. He's very confused. Look, we're bullying him. So I think what I want to do for this section is I want all these Scions dead pretty much immediately. So I think I'm just going to throw a stasis turret in the back where they all spawn right away. And cook up a turret and chuck it back there. Hopefully my aim is good. Looks a little far back. And I'm just going to keep DPSing the boss. Cold snap. Oh, okay, so the ending was a little tight. I probably shouldn't jump. I probably should have jumped directly at the boss. But there it is. Platinum clear of the Grandmaster Corrupted with a Will It build. If a Will It build can platinum a GM Nightfall carry, then I feel like it will in fact build. It will in fact build. The one thing I want to look at, though, is the Whisper of Torment. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about this one. I think I would actually, in this build, prefer... Because I don't like incentivizing, you know, I don't like rewarding myself and encouraging myself to have a playstyle that encourages me to get hit by things. So I think I would instead really like the Whisper of Refraction, where defeating slowed or frozen targets grants you class ability energy. At least in content where getting hit by enemies can, like at the snap of a finger, be a death, like in a Grandmaster Nightfall. Still will build, still wins 1,000 silver, still a great submission. Absolutely love it. If you want your build reviewed in one of these videos, please make sure to submit it in the Will It Build channel in my Discord server, linked in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.